Hi everyone, I'm going to be showing you how to set up remote development using Visual Studio Code to develop remotely on your Raspberry Pi. This is a nice setup because it allows you to run code, write code, and do pretty much everything directly on your Raspberry Pi. And it can be used by almost any operating system that can run Visual Studio Code. And it just makes the whole process a lot easier. So, we'll jump right into it. Once you've got Visual Studio Code open, you can navigate to the Extensions tab, and from here you want to find the Remote Development extension, which is over here. We're going to go ahead and install that. It installs a bunch of other remote development option packages. The main one that we're going to be using is Remote SSH. So for this to work, you need to have SSH enabled on your Raspberry Pi. I'm going to show you a quick overview of how to enable it if you have not already. I'm kind of cheating here because it's already enabled, so I can just SSH directly into it. The way, if you haven't used SSH before, you might need to install some stuff, but the main way to use it is in your terminal. You type in SSH, your username on the Pi. For me, I left it as the default, and which is Pi, and then at the IP address or host name of the Raspberry Pi. If you haven't changed the host name, then your network should be able to recognize Raspberry Pi without actually needing the IP address. So go ahead and do that. Cool, now we're in. From here, if you are on your Raspberry Pi with like a monitor, keyboard, mouse setup, you can run sudo raspi config. And this will allow you to enable SSH. You go down to interfacing options, hit enter, and then find SSH. So while I'm here, I'll also mention that when you do get your components and you start tinkering around, you probably want to enable either SPI, ITC, serial, remote GPIO, or maybe all of them, to like interface with the different, using the different protocols. So I'm just going to go ahead and enable SSH, just keep hitting enter, and then finish. Cool. And then while I'm here, I'll also show you how to find your IP address. If you need it, it's going to, if your Raspberry Pi is hooked up to the Wi-Fi, it should appear as iNet, and then there's an IP address over here. If you've got your Raspberry Pi hooked up via Ethernet, then it should appear under ETH0 and similar iNet address. Cool, so I think that's it. We'll head back to Visual Studio, and then from here you can look at the bottom left of your screen, and you should see these two arrows in the screen tab. Hit that, and then you're going to connect Remote SSH, connect to host. I've already got my Raspberry Pi set up here, but I'll just show you how to add a new host as well. So SSH pi at, and then either your IP address, which I've already done, but I'm going to set it up using Raspberry Pi host name this time around, and then hit enter, and then these config files should already be generated for you. You shouldn't really have to create them manually, so just go ahead and hit the first option. Perfect, and now the host should be added. To connect to it, we hit the green tab at the bottom again, Remote SSH, connect to host, and then select your Raspberry Pi. It should open a new window and attempt to connect. It'll ask for your password if you have one, and that should do it. Cool, looks like we're connected. I'm going to quickly show you like some of the tools of like features of why this is cool. Open a file explorer. You can open, so when I hit open folder here, it shows me all the folders in like the file system of the Pi itself, so I can navigate inside here, open up a folder, show you as an example, password again, and then perfect. So this is like a script that I have on my Pi. Does not work, so I'm not going to try and run it, but while I'm here I'm going to show you how to just like create a new file. Let's do a basic hello world. Perfect. Perfect, and then we can go ahead and save that, and then you can choose where you want to save it on your Pi. Pi, hit enter. Oh, failed. Okay, so this is an error that I've encountered, is that you'll probably have to run Visual Studio Code as an admin for you to be able to save files on the Raspberry Pi. So let's just go ahead and test it out now. Run as admin. Yes. Alright. Go ahead and connect all over again. Connect to host. Alright. Password. Cool. Then we'll jump right into creating a new file. Save that on the Pi, and that did it. Perfect. And now another cool thing is you can get direct terminal access through Visual Studio Code. So I've got it open here, and I'll just show you how you can run your code as well. So just enter Python and then your Python file, and there we go. And that's it. I hope you guys find this useful, and if you have any questions, let me know.